provide them health care, but they had their freedom. And that, my friends, which I do consider you all my friends, thank you for having me come up and speak with you. That is what is at jeopardy right now. I tend to ask this, though, especially to crowds that I know that are in support of freedom and liberty. And that's what I like the most about the National Tea Party movement, because it really isn't about party. It really isn't. It's not about party affiliation. It's not about color, skin. It isn't. It's not about, conservative or liberal, Democrat. It really is about our country. And National Tea Party activists know that. That's why they're joining hands. Independents, Democrats, Republicans. I can give you names from all parties that are involved in this movement. And as much as people want to try to make it something negative, and they want to corner us, they want to tell us what we're not and who we are. Of course, that's been a scheme that's been used for so long. Or in order to win an argument, they got to put you in a box. Then they can afford to attack you from it. Now, we're not letting that box fit us in. In fact, I had a couple of media folks call me, and they asked me the question, put me on the spot, because I guess they're finding it hard to find leadership from the diversity perspective in the Tea Parties. So here they go with their strategies. They call it. They did. Here they go with their strategies. They gave me a call and they said, we noticed that your signs have been missing. We just, I guess, forked over a couple grand in signs as a first wave. We put up some signs there down in southern Maryland, and 3 of them went missing. Those signs are expensive, and very expensive. And my competitor he's had his signs up since October, hadn't missed one. We had ours up a hot 2 weeks. The first day, day 1, 2 went missing.
It looks great on my wall.
Thank you, Senator, and that's your future senator. and the media, 3 or 4 different media outlets called me and they said, so I guess your signs are being missing, and only your signs are missing. It's probably a race thing, huh?
Well.
And I said to every single one of them, here you go again.
Yeah.
Trying to split it
Won't
again.
give it up.
Please write this, and I'm going to check to make sure you're right. It's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's an American thing. Yeah, and I don't care how many groups you try to... I don't care how many groups you put together. If you have mass numbers of people, there's bound to be a few idiots out there. That's life. But if there's one thing the Marine Corps taught me, you got to forgive me. I just came from drill for the Pentagon. I'm still in Marine Corps Reserves, and I just love the Corps. They couldn't kick me out. I love the Corps. If there's one thing the Marine Corps taught me, and some of you all would know, is that we're all different shades of green. And at the end of the day, there's not a loyalty you can ever imagine than being in the same hole with a guy that you just got through arguing with and can't stand, and then the bullets start flying and see how fast they come together. And that's how I feel about our nation right now. Dave, we're coming together because we know what's at stake. We're coming together because we know our Constitution can no longer be imposed upon as far as it has. My dad once told me, he said, well, Charles, what's the deal? What's the big deal? We've been losing taxes. We've been losing money to taxes, all my life. He said, what's another 6, 10, 12, 13 cents? I said, Dad, there's a time you got to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough. And now, since I'm drawing a line saying about this 13 cents, I want the other 38 cents too. For every dollar I make, I want it all back. Yep. At the state level, at the federal level, and everywhere in between. Because this mess is out of hand. But I want to challenge you all with this closing question. I like to do this on Tea Party activists, because I know why you're here. I don't have to convince you that you're here for the right reasons. But I want to ask you this spinning question that only you can answer. How did we get here?
We let it happen.
How did we get here?
Not paying attention.
And how many splinters sought to tear us apart at the very fabric of our American being that would allow, if you could just be Thomas Jefferson and wake up now, can you imagine how far from what he had in mind we are? Even to the most conservative of us, we could not begin to understand how far we've come from where our country once was. George Washington, in his memoirs, wrote that he almost went broke. And his plantation completely lost all of its fabric, its money-making being while he was in public office. He tried to resign 3 times, but patriotism in him said, I can't let my country down. Compare that to today, where more politicians go into office and come out wealthier than they went in. Something's wrong with that. There was an idea that you go into public service, you serve, and then you go back home and live under the laws that you passed amongst your citizens. So you never forget where you came from. Get your butt back to the farm. You know how many folks who get back to the farm? They've made it a career. We've allowed them to do it. They've splintered us in so many ways, it's not even funny. When George Washington was trying to assemble the right amount of soldiers, military guy, God forgive me, but he was trying to get ready for the Revolutionary War. He knew it was coming. 1/3 of his army went back to the farm. He had no way to keep them there.
That's right.
Do you know why? Because the states had all the power. The federal government wasn't big enough to force them to fight for their country. Can you imagine if they woke up today to see what state we're in? We're giving everybody health care now. Next thing you know, we're giving people cars. I told one of my family members this. I said, if I have to pay for your health care, then every day I get up and go jog, you go jog with me. And I find you every day, you stay in the bed. I was serious. I told one loved one, every day you smoke, I'm finding you. Because if you're going to go to the hospital and I got to pay for it, then every puff you puff, there's a $25 tax that goes to me to pay for your health care. Oh, they didn't like that at all. If you want to be fair, fair is fair. And if you decide to speed and have an accident, oh my goodness. But the point is that we didn't get here simply by accident and coincidence. We got here because we forgot a few principles. Principle number one, I'm only going to name two. Principle number one is we forgot the power of citizenship. We forgot how important citizenship really means. Citizenship is not something you give away. That's why, my friends, I understand John McCain's idea of what he was looking to do, but amnesty can never be the answer. You can't give away something that precious. Because if you lower the standards of it, it'll have people just take it too lightly.
Yeah, it's meaningless.
Absolutely. And what we have is anything but meaningless. We have an awesome country that we inherited. And we did it legally. But there's also responsibilities to citizenship. You have to guard and protect the freedom of your nation. That's why we're here today. You just got out of work. I can tell. Got your tie down, you're trying to breathe. You would much rather be in front of a steak, baked potato, and TV, and a loving wife. I know you would. Don't tell me what I would. I understand. I would love to be there. Instead, I'm 2.5 hours from my house to talk to some friends who at the end of the day can't even vote for me. Because I care about my country. Because I know how important it is for us to come together, to reach beyond what we look like on the outside and realize we cultivate something very powerful on the inside. We are the only nation on God's green earth that can identify our culture to a philosophical belief and not color of skin, hair texture, or eye color. That is awesome to me. The only way they know you and I are Americans is because of what we say and how we carry ourselves. That's right. And people are at war with that. They don't want that to happen. They don't want our country to rise. Everyone is counting us down like they did the Roman Empire. How many days left till they fall? Not on my watch. And not on yours. Don't underestimate the power of citizenship. Number two, community. And this is where I'll close. There was a time when we as Americans, we had such an awesome sense of community. We knew who our neighbors were. You know? I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I refused to cut people off in traffic because I was scared they might know who I was. I'm serious. I was in New York. I was on my way to Fox News. Fox has been very good to us. They've actually had us on twice in the strategy room. We're going back up there again in May. Yeah, thank you. We've had some real good people take care of us. But while I was in, I'm humbled to say and I'm grateful, but while I was in New York, I'm driving. No, I'm not driving, I'm in a taxi. And the taxi was trying to get us over to Fox News. And while I'm sitting there in the back seat, the traffic was terrible. I don't know how people do it. I could not live in New York.
It's amazing.
I don't even know if there is a sense of community. I don't know what there is there. But the traffic was backed up. It was a 2-lane